News, New York.
Good morning. I'm Ivan Schuman. My guest this morning is Reverend Felipe Martinez of the Whitewater Valley Presbyterian. Welcome, Reverend, and thank you for being on our show.
Thank you, Ivan.
Reverend, I'd like to start the show by asking you, find out a little bit about yourself.
I came from Mexico. I was born and raised in Mexico. And I came to the United States to go to high school and then college and eventually to seminary. I came when I was 14, and so really I came into my own as a growing adult here in the United States. So I feel that I have two cultures that play within me as well as two languages. I was fortunate to go to Presbyterian institutions down in Texas and then to go through seminary training at McCormick Theological Seminary in Chicago.
In Chicago. Now, you're living in Indianapolis as a reverend ministry to the Hispanic community. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do there?
Sure. The Presbytery of Whitewater Valley here in Indianapolis, which goes all the way from Indianapolis to Fort Wayne, has noticed the change in the demographics in our area and has felt the call to reach out to the Hispanic community. I'm one of several people who are involved in the process to reach out to them in ministry. My task is to help the presbytery conduct a study and help them create a strategy that will allow the presbytery to reach out in the way that they feel God is calling them.
Mm-hmm. Now, you shared with me before the show of the 1.5 project. Can you share with our audience what that project is all about?
To me, this is really exciting. What happens is when we think about immigrants, we think about the immigrants that have come from another country. That's what we would call a first-generation immigrant. Then, of course, they may have children here in the United States, and they would be second-generation immigrants. They are born here and they grow up here. But there's a generation in between, in effect. People who were born elsewhere who really grow up here in the United States and, not unlike myself, are able to bridge both cultures, and that they are called the 1.5 generation. Our Korean American brothers and sisters coined that term, and we use it because we think it's helpful. We at the Presbytery feel that one of the ways in which we could reach out to the community, the Hispanic community, is by focusing on that 1.5 generation. And by doing ministry that is both in English and in Spanish, that is bicultural and bilingual at the same time. In so doing, we would be able then to reach to their parents as well as to a second generation. You have people, maybe a family, where the parents speak Spanish, maybe the children speak mostly English. You know, should they choose a church, we want them to think about a church where the whole family can be together.
Because there is sometimes tendency between the teenagers and youth, and I think that in itself is very important to have in a church.
That's right, and it not only calls into mind the fact that there will be tension because of regular development issues, but then also if there are two cultures at play, I think that a ministry that is mindful about those cultural issues would be very beneficial, would be very effective in reaching out to the entire family, not just to a part of it.
Now, what issues have you seen, challenges have you faced here in Indianapolis with as far as reaching out to the Hispanic community?
Well, as far as reaching out to the Hispanic community, it's good to first think about how the Hispanic community is perceived by the general community. I think one of the main barriers is just a general lack of knowledge of how complex the Hispanic community really is. Just to give you, for example, people think that the Hispanic community in Indianapolis, they don't speak English. The census figures tell us that actually 35% of Hispanics in Marion County don't speak Spanish. They speak only English. And then 20-some-odd% speak only Spanish. And what you have, if you were drawing a pie chart, 41% of those Hispanics are bilingual. So therefore, it's important for us to think about the fact that these immigrants, first, second, third generation immigrants who are in this in Indianapolis, have a complexity of where they've come, what their culture's like, what languages they prefer, and to be mindful of that as we reach out to them.
Great. Now, if our audience would like more information, who would they get in contact with?
They are more than welcome to reach me. My name is Felipe Martinez, and my email and my phone number are appearing on camera. I would be more than glad to connect with them about their own church's outreach and as well inform them about what we are doing at Whitewater Valley Presbytery.
Well, Well, Reverend, thank you for being here on our program, and we look forward to seeing you in the future.
Thank you so much, Ivan.
Teresa, back to you.
Thanks, Ivan. My guest talks about changing his rap style with his new lifestyle when Religion in the News comes back.